Hello, Mr. Ridgely. How are you, my dear friend?
I am awesome. How are you, Mr. Madison?
I am better than awesome. I had a wonderful little 2 weeks between this show and our last show. Had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Friday and Saturday, it poured. Actually, and Sunday. But on the Sunday, I had some dear friends over to the house. It was finally a chance to have some friends over. All of my inoculated friends came over, and we had some barbecue, and we drank, and we enjoyed each other's company, and that was incredibly sweet. So that was fun. And then yesterday, I took a little road trip up to the Northeast, and my lovely wife and daughter, and we had a great time. So yeah, everything's copacetic, my dear friend.
Sweet.
How about you?
I got nothing
You got
except
nothing.
celebrated my daughter's 16th birthday yesterday a little early with some immediate family. And yeah, I still can't believe she's 16 or going to be 16 on Tuesday. And that scares the holy hell out of me.
I could imagine because I have a 17-year-old, so I know exactly what you're going through. I assure you, my friend, I know exactly what you're going through. Hello, Mr. Meany. I hope you are well. I hope that your shoot went well. I'm very proud of you, and I really look forward to that project. You're an awesome guy, and you deserve the best. What was I going to say? Sweet 16. Hi, Kari. I hope you're well. I forgot. I don't know. I keep going. That's very annoying. I should stop doing that. I sound like the former president, like I'm high on coke or something and cleaning my palate.
You
Not yet. Not yet. I was going to say something important. Oh, you're very welcome, Scott. Oh, this show, this lovely broadcast, The End of the Night, is brought to you by the wonderful folks over at Film Hub. Film Hub is probably the ultimate resource for film distribution for people out there who are trying to get their films distributed. They're a great, great resource for indie filmmakers. They have all four of my films now. They're doing quite amazing things with them. And I'm very, very proud to be affiliated with Film Hub and for them to be a wonderful sponsor of this program.
And we also have StreamYard. Everybody asks us what program we use to broadcast live. That would be StreamYard. If you want your streams to look professional like ours, head over at StreamYard. They have a free trial. Check them out.
They do. Hello, CJ. I hope you're well. You know, since we were last on, you know what? That thing is reflecting off my Army of Darkness poster too much. So I'll put my head right here. I won't move a muscle for the rest of the show. Which is a lie. I like move around like a cracked out hyena. Another thing. Don't forget the lovely, lovely project that your beautiful wife and daughter are working on, because that product is utterly amazing.
Oh, you're going to make me remember what it's called again. They actually just got their tax ID number, which is really cool. It's official now. So yes, please head on over to Hearts of the Mystic Folk, and they are making all natural waxes. They smell phenomenal. They have a new watermelon one that they're going to be releasing soon. Oh my God, it's so good.
You know what? I wish I knew what flavors I have, or scents. I guess flavors is the wrong thing. They look like chocolate bars to me, so I call them flavors. But I wish the scents. I knew what the scent was, because the first one I had was my favorite of all time, and then I put a second one in, and now this is my favorite of all time. But they are really, really wonderful, and I think my wife is going to be putting in an order, believe it or not, to get me new ones for Father's Day. That's how much I like them. So
nice, thank you.
I'm the kind of guy who ruins his Father's Day presents. Like, get me this, get me this, get me this.
If I may say real fast, we did have Steve Johnson scheduled for tonight. Unfortunately, he had another commitment, so he said he will be rescheduling very soon. He was even kind enough to shoot a video apologizing, and unfortunately, it like went into slow motion for some reason. I don't know if it was the upload or what, but he does sincerely apologize, and he can't wait to be on.
Oh yes, actually, absolutely. We'll have him on at a later date. Steve, I hope you're enjoying your evening of licking poles and smoking crack. It was a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke. He had another engagement. What's up, gentlemen? Good evening, friends and foes. Whoa, it's heavy stuff. I would like to. Okay. Ken, you have to now put in the comments who's the friends and who's the foes out of the three of us. We'll wait.
And Mike, while Ken's doing that, everybody don't forget to go to the End of the Night Facebook page, give it a thumbs up, give it a follow. Also, the Tech Defects YouTube channel, where all the shows here will be archived. Go give it a like and a subscribe if you would, please.
By the way, Steve Johnstone, I was just kidding. You have to know my sense of humor. I was just goofing, about you, whatever.
I just got an IM from him at the hockey game.
Oh, okay. Well, who's winning?
That I don't know, but he said, Dave, forget it.
Okay, it's forgotten. No foes as of yet. I like that. Yes, so since we were last on, we had the Knicks, who I beloved, the beloved New York Knickerbockers, lost pathetically and without even a remote amount of effort. They lost to the Atlanta Hawks. You don't care about basketball, do you, Mr. Ridgely? No? What do you care about?
Football and hockey. Islanders are 2-2 in the series right now with the Bruins.
Oh, nice. And do you expect the Islanders to win that series? No? Well, I think they have a question.
I would love them to, but do I expect them to? No. Hey,
Now,
mind you, they haven't been to the Stanley Cup since the early 80s when they won 4 in a row.
do you remember when they won 4 in a row?
I do.
And who was their goalie?
Don't remember.
Billy Smith.
Billy Smith. Okay.
Billy Smith.
You know him.
I don't.
Oh.
And they had some guy who had like a really big, thick porn star mustache. Do you remember that guy? On
That
those
was like
those 4
everybody on every team at that time.
Well, there you go. They all kind of look like 70s porn stars as hockey players. I'm in a weird mood tonight. I apologize to everybody watching.
We're also kind of thrown off since we had off last week, and then
I'm kind of mean and abrasive, and I'm just not everybody gets my sense of humor, so I apologize. What'd you say?
I'm sorry?
I have to say, out of all the technical producers I ever worked with, Mr. Ritchie, you're my favorite.
Well, I thank you.
You're very welcome.
As he's muttering something while he's drinking.
You're the guy. You're the guy who who literally is the man behind letting me have a show, and the guy who's literally the man behind building the Indie Brigade. But with that being said, I'm going to call you a technical producer. Is the lovely and talented Grunkle Scott?
That should be big enough.
Yes, you might actually be able to get me from Florida with that one. Is the lovely and talented Grunkle Scott available, or does he have an intrusive turtle head that he's dealing with?
I don't know. I see Honest Abe. Let's see.
There it is! Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Grunkle Scott Schiaffo, an icon, a legend, the man among men. He's got a cool Abe Lincoln shirt on. What else can you ask for? Hello, Grunkle Scott.
How you guys doing? See, like, haters gonna hate.
Ooh.
Haters gonna hate. Hey,
I like it.
Gary, I love you, sweetheart. Scott Meany, you're the best. Everybody watching, you're all the best. Love you. Ed McKeever. Oh, my God.
Oh, look at that. You have the Beast poster behind you. Very, very sweet. I like it. You know what's funny?
Are you going to explain the turtle comment?
No, I'm going to leave it out there for people to...
Potatoes gonna be
Turtley enough for this?
No, if you want to indulge in the turtle head comment, you're more than welcome. But if you want to just leave the turtle head alone, we could do that.
I'm crowning as we speak. All right, folks, here's the deal.
You really don't have to go here if you don't want to, but this show has no class. But I'm fine with it.
I'm having tremendous stomach discomfort tonight, and David, you reminded me that to technically be constipated, you have to have not gone for a day or two or whatever it might be, and that's not the case. But I feel that, and I'm just like been doubled over for the last hour and a half, thinking, "Oh my God, I hope I don't have an emergency during the show. In which case, I would need a safe word." And then you guys just said bail if you got to bail. So, but yeah.
So if by any chance,
that was a riveting.
If while we're talking, if Scott just disappears off screen, know that he's off to drop a deuce.
The safe word is Wiener Schnitzel.
I think I'll be okay, actually.
We should use the word Oscar because it's like something that will never be used by Scott or I.
Wow. Hey, man.
Ken's asking if you have food poisoning.
Food poisoning. No, I have very bizarre habits. I don't eat all day until well into later in the night, which is bad, I know. But I haven't even really had a meal yet. So it's not that. I had coffee all day long. I don't know what's happening. It's just a weirdness. It'll go away. It's starting to dissipate a little bit. So,
how does constipation dissipate without you dropping a deuce?
I don't know. I mean, pain is going away.
Okay.
Before we went on, I had a little break in the action. If you're not, boy, this really is a ridiculous conversation.
I'm telling you, we need Bill Sadler on here right now.
Bill Sadler, his story is the stuff of legend, and we are mere mortals next to Bill Sadler's wonderful story of, I don't know. If it starts running down your leg, well, okay, yes.
Woo!
We don't want that.
I hear a lot of people get their best ideas on the throne. So
On
I heard Elvis died on the throne, actually.
Well, he did die on the. Well,
a lot of people die on the. I actually back when I was having all my heart troubles, I took many a ride with the EMTs, and this is serious. This is a serious note. A lot of middle-aged men and older die on the throne because they sit there and force it, and they have a heart attack, a clot, or a stroke. So don't ever force it if you're over 50.
Sadly, over 50, I force everything.
And don't forget to get your colon.
Just take a good dose of colon blow.
All right. Let's.
No, I lost you guys. Damn it.
How'd you lose us? Nope, he can't hear us, so why am I asking?
I'll be right back.
You know what? I think that Joe might have just snuck off to drop a deuce. I could be wrong. He was there, and I was going to do a segment here of great films that are not overly loved that I have here. You had to poop. I agree with you, Luciana. I would put that up on the screen if I had the capability, but sadly, Joe's the man. Joe's the big cheese, the big poobah, the man, the boss, the man with the plan. So I have to now wait for Joe to come back. Where'd you get that shirt, Mr. Schiaffo?
I got that from the lovely and talented Jewel Carey.
Oh, that was a very sweet.
This is actually the second one because I think I left one at a con in a hotel room by accident. So she bought me another one.
Can you hear us, Mr. Ridgely?
Yes.
Yes. So, Mr. Ridgely, I'm going to partake upon some films that I think are kind of hidden gems. Some of them are not overly hidden, but not overly talked about. And I want to see if you guys seen any of these. Are you guys ready?
I am ready.
Old man glasses are needed. The first one up stars Daniel Radcliffe and James McAvoy. Did either one of you guys see Victor Frankenstein?
I did.
Now here's the
when it first came out. When it first came out.
You want to get on me when it first came out.
Yeah.
Now that did you see it, Scott?
I have not seen it. No.
Now that film was a really, really big budgeted film, and Hollywood had really, with James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe in it, they had really, really high expectations. I think they spent something like $80 million on the film. And when it came out, I think the first weekend it grossed somewhere under $10 million. It was a colossal failure. But I'm going to go out on the record and say that Victor Frankenstein is a must-see horror film for horror fans out there. Wonderful performances by Radcliffe and James McAvoy. When is James McAvoy ever bad? Just a beautifully shot film and a great retelling of the great Frankenstein classic.
You know what? I may be mistaken.
Okay.
I may not have seen that one. I think there was another Frankenstein movie around the same time who had, I can't remember the guy's name, who played Two-Face in the Batman series.
Tommy Lee Jones.
No. He's talking about the later Two-Face. The guy who is... I know what you're talking. I think that's called I, Frankenstein, where he's kind of like a Frankenstein-like superhero.
Yes.
The fair-haired guy.
Yes, that guy.
Yes, that I was not impressed with whatsoever.
Aaron Eckhart. Thank you, Mr. Robles. You're awesome.
Aaron Eckhart.
And Ken McKiernan said, I, Frankenstein. So is anybody else watching out there a big fan of Victor Frankenstein? Because I apparently am the only one on this show who watched it. Scott, did you watch, by the way, Spontaneous?
I have not yet, because when I heard we had a postponement, I figured it was going to buy me some time, and I haven't watched it yet. But I've watched the trailer a bunch of times.
And he needs something to do on the toilet.
Yes, that's the kind of film that might be rather explosive on the toilet. All right.
You would get that joke if you actually
saw the movie.
Well, I got a question about your first film. Is it literally a retelling? It's Dr. Frankenstein puts together a monster and blah, blah, blah?
It is a loosely retelling. Spontaneous was brilliant. Thank you, Scott. I'm glad you watched it. You did your homework, unlike Schiaffo. It's a loosely based kind of retelling of the original Frankenstein. And I'm a really big James McAvoy fan ever since. Him in Split was absolutely brilliant. Any actor who could pull off that many characters in one performance is wonderful. And this is really, I think Scott, this would really be right in your wheelhouse. It's just a really, really cool flick, and it's contemporary. It's extremely well done. They spent a fortune on it, and it's just one of those sad occasions when a film that had so many things going for it for some reason just didn't catch fire. And I'm surprised that there aren't more people watching who've seen it. That's probably why it did so badly in the box office. Because
I think I'm starting to remember now. So Harry Potter was Igor.
Harry Potter was Igor, but he was also a brilliant doctor. He was more like, and they work. It starts off they work in a circus, and the woman falls from the trapeze, and Daniel Radcliffe saves her, and Victor Frankenstein's in the audience and watches him do this, and they team up together. None of this rings a bell.
No, I'm gonna have to cue that. What year was that?
I want to say it was probably like 2019. 2015. But it didn't stand out. Okay, Luciana, not everybody's cool like you, okay? Didn't stand out. Sorry.
Well, no, I agree. I somewhat remember it now if he was Igor. And
well, can I make a real quick comment about the reality of something standing out and blah, blah, blah? Guys, really, isn't it not the truth that probably, I guess, the last decade, it started in the early 2000s, but the massive amount of things that get released now, the amount of films, period. It's called content now, but it's literally mind blowing that, back I remember like in 70s and 80s and 90s when we didn't have the internet world, which I love tech. I'm a big tech geek, so I'm not saying that I, would rather go back to that time, although I really miss it. But films, maybe 20 to 30 tops came out in a month, maybe. And that was a hot month. Now that comes out in a week. Maybe even, Amazon, Netflix, the regular studio system. There's just so much stuff. It's mind blowing.
No, absolutely. But I think as far as what the studio system churns out, I don't think there was a great increase in films by them. So, the film was highly visible. It was just not beloved. Next one. I guarantee you guys saw this. It didn't get an enormous box office. And it was directed by, I think his name is Joe Johnston. And he directed a great film called The Rocketeer, which is one of my favorite superhero films. Yep, great flick with Bill Campbell. And also, he went on to do Captain America, if I'm not mistaken, the original Captain America. But this was his foray into huge budget horror, and I think it came out probably in around 2014, I want to guess. But it was just a wonderful film. The Benicio del Toro, Anthony Hopkins Wolfman. Did one of you guys see this one?
Yes, that was basically a retelling of the Universal movie.
Right. Well, actually, the story was significantly different, where Lon Chaney was bitten by a bunch of traveling gypsies. This is a little bit of a different story. Hi, Brian. I hope you're well. And right, that is. A bunch of traveling gypsies. But this one is kind of, I don't know, anything that has Max von Sydow in it is just really the bee's knees for me. What do you think of it, Scott? Did you see it?
It's on my Plex, but I haven't watched it. Let me quickly say about the Universal monster movies, Werewolf, Frankenstein, Dracula, those three in particular. I literally still watch those several times a month, only because I could put either the original, the Lugosi Dracula or the Lon Chaney Wolfman or the Karloff Frankenstein in, and it will lull me to sleep for some reason. I know that's weird. So I've sat through the Universal Dracula, Frankenstein, and Werewolf a zillion times in my life. And I love Benicio del Toro because I think he's probably one of the more underrated actors of that generation. There you go. Doing the Werewolves of London.
Yes.
That's what she's alluding to. But I don't know. I almost built up a block for seeing that for some reason.
Timothy Dalton in The Rocketeer, yes. That was just a wonderful movie. It's another movie that didn't get a hell of a lot of love that deserve it. I'm a big Alan Arkin fan, and I think he stole that movie. Is it Alan or Adam? Who's the father? Alan, correct?
Alan's the father.
Did you ever see Coupe de Ville?
I haven't, but Alan Arkin in anything is always priceless. Good.
Now, Ken prefers Jack Nicholson's Wolf, which I think was ghastly. If it didn't have... You like that movie? I like Spader, but I don't know. The werewolf looked like a guy who had a bad hair club for men incident instead of really...
I know, but the whole Jack peeing on his leg... I
saw that in the theater, man, like probably more than once. I just love that whole cast.
What do I know? I'm a grumpy.
Everybody's allowed their vibe and their opinion,
Popcorn
I can't. I almost. I cannot. It's hard for me to be critical of almost anything because I love film and I love actors so much that I try to find something nice to say or say nothing at all. That's just me.
Well, you're a kind soul, Mr. Schiaffo.
Well, David, when you're part of the when you've been in the business for as long as we both have on whatever level, I just feel like I don't ever want to criticize my peers. I just rather say nothing.
I wish everybody was like that, Scott, or there wouldn't be 13,000 mean things about me floating around on the internet at this very moment.
There's only 13,000?
Yes, I cut the other 13,000 out. The next film. Now, Scott, I know you have had to have seen this. This is a Paul Verhoeven classic, and literally, I think, a precursor to the Iron Man movies that we all love today. But what's going on? I got like a weird red spot. I'm having a stroke or something. Like your alien. That's just uncalled for. Before I go any further with this, I want to call Luciana out on something. I put up a picture very innocently of my feet because I was laying down watching the Met game the other night. The Met game ended at like 2 o'clock in the morning. It was like 1:30 in the morning, and I was laying in my living room, and I looked down, and I saw these ginormous things, and it wasn't what you think. It's my feet, and
So your ego, but okay.
I said my feet. Why would my ego have anything to do with ginormous feet? Just do the math. Now, I was looking at my ginormous feet, and I said, you know what? Sean Smith and my dear friend, I hope you are well. I was looking at I was like, you know what? I have to take a picture and put these up. I'm sorry about the vein. I had the surgery. Well worth it. Okay. I used to like this Luciana character. So I took a picture of my feet, and then for some bizarre reason, people I actually call friends decided to attack my legs, my feet, my varicose veins, my knobby knees, my paleness, everything that you can pick on somebody for, they went for.
See, I thought it was a joke. I didn't realize that those were really your feet. I thought that was a joke picture. Those are really your feet?
Those are really my feet. Dun, dun, dun. Look how big that thing is.
And you're still married.
Well, now you know why my wife walks like a cowboy.
Jesus.
So, yes, those are really my feet. They are ginormous. Now, see, you guys threw me off. I was going to go on to the next movie, which is a precursor to what built the MCU Iron Man movies, and Paul Verhoeven's classic Robocop. You guys both have had to have seen Robocop, right?
Multiple times, and was very disappointed with the reboot.
I didn't see the reboot, but I remember when Robocop first came out, how it had a rawness to it and a vulgarity that really struck home. And the scene when the bad guys actually shoot up, Robocop or Peter Weller. Is it Peter Weller or Paul Weller? Peter Weller. He gave me an angry face right before he picked up a baseball with his toes and threw it. I thought you were never going to tell. It was just a horrifying scene where they literally blow pieces of the poor bastard's body off of him. And first two, what did he say?
Oh, first two movies
I-
are good, everything else is trash.
You know what? I'm not. Yes, that's a great line. I thought only the first movie was good. Was Weller back for a sequel, or was he gone already?
I don't think he came back for the sequel.
Yeah, I'm not
he
sure.
Is that another film that Campbell's in? I think I'm confusing it with Maniac Cop.
What, RoboCop?
Yeah, I don't think I saw.
You haven't seen?
No.
There were 3 RoboCop movies. There was a TV show. There was an animated show for the kids based on a rated R movie that blew people up.
Wow.
CJ is informing us that he did do the second
Oh,
one.
did he do? Okay, he didn't do the third one. I remember hearing he had a problem with all the prosthetics and everything, and
Either that, or he was just like, "Why would I do a movie like in the first RoboCop for the first half of the movie? You got to see it was Peter Weller, and I'm sure in not the third one, Maniac Cop had a sequel. Yes, Maniac Cop had a sequel. So, Scott, you haven't seen Tombstone. You haven't
What?
seen RoboCop. He hasn't seen The Wolfman or Victor Frank. What have you seen?
Come on, I got to do a list of a lot of my fave films. These are things that just have eluded me. I'm not a Western guy, but I love Quick and the Dead because of Sam Raimi. But Westerns, I don't know. I've had a thing with them. I don't know. A lot of sci-fi goes by me. I love cop dramas. I like comedy. I do like rom-coms. I try to be open-minded, but these films just got by me. But you know that I know
that you love movies, but I feel like everybody who is between 40 and 60 saw RoboCop. But I could be wrong. Hasn't seen Tombstone, dude. Yeah, I mean,
I just have not. I think.
Do you like Val Kilmer?
I love Val Kilmer. We had this discussion. I know he's in it. I will get to it. It's part of our Plex collection. I collect movies like a lunatic, but I still haven't watched Tombstone. I know.
I would say, would you say this is a fair assessment, Joe, that Val Kilmer's best theatrical performance ever was in Tombstone?
Yes.
Wait a minute now.
Well, it definitely wasn't The Saint.
What about what's the?
And it wasn't Batman.
It wasn't Batman.
What was the De Niro film?
Oh, Heat.
Come on.
Heat was a good.
He's way better in Tombstone than he is in Heat.
Now, how about Kilmer and Downey Jr. in? Somebody help me here.
Kilmer and Downey Jr.
Yeah, it's like an action comedy that's hilarious. It takes place in Hollywood. Somebody out there help me. C.J. Robles, you must know it. Come on.
Oh, John Wayne Colwell's on. He will tell us. Heat as well. What is he talking about, John Wayne, with Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr.?
It's only about 10 or 15 years old.
Do you know it, Scott?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Joe?
Not off.
Kiss, bang, bang, Joe, I'm saying.
There you go.
That's an oldie.
I never seen that movie.
That's not that old. What do you got? You know how old you're making me?
The 90s?
Dude. I mean, that was my, I would say it's my favorite era, but, I'm a 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s guy. The last 20 years is, I guess, what's gotten by me, to be honest. I'm so old. I'm leaving.
Oh, come on. Wait a minute. Was that the safe word? Scott, you're saying that your favorite movie wasn't Val Kilmer and what the hell, Marlon Brando and the hell was that?
Oh, the Island movie, The Island of Dr. Moreau.
The remake of Island of Dr. Moreau.
No, that one I kind of slipped by me too. I know.
Marlon Brando.
All right, I have another film. Now, if Scott didn't see this, I'm just going to defriend him, throw him off the show, and let him go. Let him go pick his turtle head out.
Pick his turtle head out.
This movie was directed none other than by the great Larry Cohen, and it came out in 1982 and starred Michael Moriarty and David Carradine. It's called Q the Winged Serpent, and it was about a giant pterodactyl that lived in the top of the Chrysler Building. Drops.
Never heard of it.
Scott, really?
Let me try to concisely put this. Sci-fi, winged creatures, magical little 10-year-old boys like what is the Radcliffe thing?
Oh,
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Never saw 5 seconds of any Harry Potter. I mean, there's as much as I love actors and I love movies, I'm realizing there's a tremendous chunk of genres and things that, I'm busy watching Ben Gazzara in The Killing of a Chinese Bookie.
What's funny? I was watching, for some bizarre reason, last week I had this weird marathon where I watched a whole bunch of episodes of Columbo. The really early ones with Donald Pleasance, not as good as the stuff. No, it's straight horror film. Good. One with Donald Pleasance and one with William Shatner and one with Leonard Nimoy. We're talking about pre-1974 episodes. I think I watched like the first 2 seasons. And in watching those Columbo movies, it occurred to me, Mr. Schiaffo, and if you go back and watch them yourself, it occurred to me that you, my friend, would play a wonderful, wonderful Lieutenant Columbo. In fact, when I watch Peter Falk's performances in that, he reminds me so much of you, it's eerie.
That is a very, very, very kind compliment. I take that as a compliment because Peter Falk, I think, is probably very underrated because he was so identified with Columbo that people don't realize that before Columbo, he's one of my main guys from the John Cassavetes films. Falk played in a lot of Cassavetes films. Cassavetes is one of the godfathers of indie film. I mean, he was making indie films way before anybody had a name to call it. Really, he's one of the first guys.
By the way, I'm not an overly... I'll let you get back into your thought. I apologize.
Okay.
I'm not an overly religious guy, but when people watch this in playback, about a minute ago when Scott first started to speak, when you watch this again, an angel flew around by Scott and went down behind his right shoulder. It was the coolest thing I ever... Did you catch that, Joe? Okay, go ahead.
Woohoo!
I'm sure somebody else seen that. That was really, really weird. It was literally, Scott, I'm not kidding you. It was like you had a guardian angel. And I guess it will be at like the 36-minute mark, maybe the 35.5-minute mark. It flies right next to you, right behind you, by your head, like checks you out, and then kind of does a dive bomb behind your back. And it was not any kind of fly or mosquito. It was something cool and supernatural. But go ahead, go back with you.
Oh, don't say that. I don't want that. I can't remember that.
He comes down like Spider-Man and kisses Scott like Kirsten Dunst. Okay, go back with your thought about Columbo. My apologies.
No apologies necessary. Just Peter Falk's from an era and from a crowd of guys that I really admire, look up to, and were inspired by. Ben Gazzara, Cassavetes, Peter Falk. They all kind of came out of a similar school. And now a name is eluding me, but he's another guy who lasted Harry Dean Stanton. Oh gosh, I can't think of his name. It's driving me crazy. It'll come to me. But those guys from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and then they continued to work as much older men in the 90s and on. But they're very much responsible for, and then of course people like Robert De Niro and Scorsese and Dustin Hoffman, Jack Nicholson, the guys in the 70s, Hal Ashby, the filmmaker. What happened was films got to breathe more. Leading men were not leading men used to have to be classically handsome guys who were able to just say their lines intelligently. I'm not saying they weren't some good actors in that crowd, but leading men was more about a look than it was about a real method acting talent. In the 70s, that all changed with people like Hoffman, Jack Nicholson, De Niro, all of those guys. So all those films are near and dear to me, 60s, 70s, and 80s. But Mickey Rourke might have been one of the last guys to come out of that school. But
now one of I was trying to introduce my daughter to some of the performers that were people I liked growing up. And oddly enough, my daughter gravitated to, of all people, Jim Backus. She's an enormous Jim Backus fan. And Darren McGavin, the Night Stalker, and of course, the old man in A Christmas Story. Just two wonderful, wonderful performers. So I'm trying to get her on to one of my favorite actors of all time, Donald Pleasance, who was the bad guy in one of this particular episodes of Columbo. Actually, I think it was really cool about Columbo is that that episode with Donald Pleasance, it was the first time Columbo was really sympathetic to the killer, because the killer had some, specific reasons in mind. Donald Pleasance's brother was trying to strong out him out of his family wine business and was just an overall cretin. And, Columbo felt bad that Donald Pleasance, of course, murdered his brother, but his brother was a real douchebag. So at the end of the episode, before he takes Donald Pleasance away into prison, he allows him to sit down and, because he's a wine connoisseur, have one final bottle of his favorite wine, and they sit there and they enjoy a moment together. So it was really interesting. And so my daughter watches the Donald Pleasance episode, and then she watches the William Shatner episode, which is really cool because William Shatner plays a detective. Everybody knows that the big guest star on Columbo is ultimately the killer. There's no surprise that they show them being the killer in the first 5 minutes. And in that episode, what's really weird is that William Shatner plays an actor who plays a detective on TV, and he's the killer. But the main cop is none other than the cop who's helping out Columbo is none other than Walter Koenig, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah. And when they go to Shatner's house, the on his back wall of William Shatner's house, where he plays a fictional actor named like Chad Conway or something, is a picture of Captain Kirk, a drawing of Captain Kirk on the wall. And the fact that they had Koenig and Shatner playing an actor was really fantastic. What did John Way put up there? The episodes have some great writing, and the idea that the killer was ahead of its time. Yeah, I think what's really cool, it actually befuddled my daughter, who's a big, what's the one with Angela Lansbury?
Murder, She Wrote.
My daughter's a big Murder, She Wrote fan, where it's more of like a whodunit. She thought it was really weird that in the first 10 minutes of the show, you find out who the killer is, and then what makes the show interesting is watching how Columbo ultimately solves the crime. Now, with that being said, we watched, what many people know is that Columbo's a long show. It's like an hour and 38 minutes an episode. They used to play in 2-hour time slots. It's one of those shows that was only on once a month, and it would be on in a 2-hour time slot. So, at least that's the way it originally started. So we sat down, we watched 3 episodes. It was the Shatner, the Pleasance, and the Vincent Price. And at the end of watching these, I said to my daughter, does Columbo remind you of anybody in particular? And she looked at me without hesitation and said, Uncle Scott. And I was like, bingo. So I was right on her. So there you go.
That's actually, it's the sweetest thing I've heard in quite a long time.
Now, before we go on to the next part, I want to send out a trivia question. There's going to be no cheating at all. And if the winner of whoever answers it first actually wants a signed copy, a DVD or a Blu-ray of either my film Mr. Hush or Middle Village, I will gladly send it to him as a prize. But no cheating. Only if you know the true answer to this trivia question. Please be if you're the first one who posts it and wants to win the Blu-ray or DVD, I'll gladly send it to you. Or if you just want to answer it and say screw you and your stupid Blu-ray DVD, that's fine too. What is Lieutenant Columbo's, the fictional character? What is Lieutenant Columbo's first name? Whoever comes up with the first right answer can be the grand poobah of the show and win a copy of Mr. Hush or Middle Village signed. On to the next thing.
Nobody ever saw the last movie you were just talking about.
What movie was that? Q?
The one with the dinosaur. I never friggin' heard of that. Half the people on here never heard of it.
By the way, CJ Robles 1, if you want to send me in a private message your address, I will gladly send you a copy of either Middle Village or Mr. Hush signed directly to you. Good job, Mr. Robles. It was Frank Columbo.
Frank Columbo. Wow.
Yes. All right. So screw you all. None of you care about Q. It's a great movie. Go out and see it. It's about a giant pterodactyl who lives in top of the Chrysler building and
Was that a
beheads.
theatrical release, or was it something like Gargoyles that was just on
Oh no,
TV?
no! It was actually a relatively big movie, believe it or not, for a small, no budget movie. It was actually kind of widely released. I also think he's the guy who went on. If I'm not, did he do Night of the Creeps and the Monster Squad? I could be wrong. I don't know. I think that's the answer. My next film. Now I know Scott had to have seen this because I know he loves this actor, and if he didn't see this, I'm going to be shocked, shitless. I'm going to be speechless. I'm going. See, look, the hands are as big as the feet. Isn't that creepy? Yee. I'm going to be shocked, shitless. The next film was, I think it's almost 20 years old already, and it stars none other than Bruce Campbell and Ossie Davis, and was directed by my friend Don Corsicali, and of course, it's none other than the legendary Bubba Hotep. Mr. Schiaffo, please tell me you saw Bubba. Oh, yes, we have a winner, ladies and gentlemen.
There's really not. I don't think there's too many Campbells that I haven't seen, but yeah, that's really wonderful performances, really high concept, and they even talked about a sequel, but it never happened. And I think we lost Ossie on the along the way, but yeah, that's. I can't believe how time is just flying too. To me, 20 years is literally like a blink of an eye. You know, I mean.
And Ed, I am very happy that you are showing your advanced age like I am, and that you remember Q. It did have a very popular VHS cover. I don't know. I thought it was a really cool movie. Michael Moriarty is such a ham in that movie. But here's a trivia question to you, Mr. Ridgely. I will send you a signed piece of Scott Schiaffo's used toilet paper after he drops his deuce if you answer this correctly.
Debbie Does Dallas.
What actor who appears in this movie has done our show, The End of the Night?
That's right. That's right. I know this. I should have brought that up.
I haven't seen
Want
it
a
in
hint?
so
I'll
long.
give you a hint. I'll give you a hint. He's super underrated in general, but he was phenomenal in River's Edge. Ever see River's Edge? Don't tell me you haven't seen River's Edge. See, those type of movies, like, to me, that blows my mind when you cats haven't seen River's Edge.
Oh, I've seen River's Edge.
Oh, you've seen River's Edge. Well, your buddy's in it.
Yeah, there you go. All right, think of our first episode.
Oh, yeah. The guy who didn't smile a lot.
On my show, nobody smiles except Tiffany Shepis when she's like throwing hateful words at me.
Sean, I'm phoning a friend. Sean, who is it? I want the used piece of toilet paper.
Nope, nobody's helping you out on this one.
I don't know offhand.
You want to take it, Mr. Schiaffo?
Mr. Roebuck.
Yes!
Daniel,
You know what? You literally looked like for a split second there, like, oh my God, I can't remember his name. My head is going to be on fire.
No, he is such an underrated gem of a character actor, and he's been in so many wonderful films. And he actually did have a run there where he was getting considered, I guess, for larger roles, because then he was after River's Edge, not too long after River's Edge, he was in a Penelope Spheris film called Dudes, which is very little seen and really a crazy, wild concept movie. He's opposite John Cryer in the entire movie. They're basically co-leads, but he's wonderful. He shows up in so many things. I really admire him and his career.
Yeah, he was also in what's the movie where death is chasing you? Oh God, you know
Final
what?
Destination?
Yeah, he was also the main cop in Final Destination, and he was also in the two Harrison Ford fugitive movies. One one had Harrison Ford, and I think what was the sequel to The Fugitive that didn't have Harrison Ford? U.S. Marshals. He was in both of those. He played Tommy Lee Jones's the officer who worked with Tommy Lee Jones on those movies. That's all I got for movies. I don't know. I had one winner in the group. What the hell do I know? Wesley Snipes. What the hell? Haven for Heroes, my dear friend Emmett. Haven for Heroes.
Wesley Snipes was in one of those movies, wasn't he?
Which one? No. He wasn't in Fugitives, was he? He might have been. I don't know. Haven for Heroes, first off, if anybody's in Orange County, New York, or Northeast Pennsylvania, or anywhere in where New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania meet, there's this wonderfully quaint little town. Oh, he was in U.S. Marshals. Thank you, John Wayne. There was this wonderful, quaint little town called Port Jervis that I absolutely adore. And my dear friend Emmett Garnham owns a store called Haven for Heroes. And it's where all the kids come and they play the Magic Gathering games and all those wonderful things. And he sells comic books and baseball cards and toys and all that wonderful stuff. He's really a great guy, and that community is very lucky to have him. So, well, I'm glad you're watching tonight, Mr. Garnham. CJ Robles says Robert Downey was in U.S. Marshals. Oh yes, the second one. It says, yeah. I can smell it already. What can you smell, Luciana? Did I say something that she's riffing on that I'm not cognizant to?
I hope it has nothing to do with my particular problem from earlier in the evening, which I'm feeling a million times better, thankfully.
I think she lives comic book stories. There you go. There you go. Yeah, Luciana, if you're ever up there, you have to check it out. It's a great store. Actually, me, Brian, and Scott, I think in 2018, maybe, we did Free Comic Book Day, which I think is like May 5th or May 6th. Isn't it in tune with Cinco de Mayo? I think it is. Me, Brian, and Scott did a signing up at his Haven for Heroes store, as you recall, Scott, the very next day we started shooting Wit's End, so that was pretty awesome. And he says, "Yes, sir." And
wait a minute, really? After we did the Haven for Heroes event, you began shooting Wit's End?
If you recall, we did. I had all of the Blizzard stuff in the can. And when we did the signing at Haven for Heroes, and then we went to that lovely place for dinner.
Yeah. And
then you and Brian went to Brian's house, and me and the ladies went to my house, and we started getting the set ready for the shoot. That's when the bear came, if you remember, that night.
Oh, yeah, I don't know why. I thought that we shot those scenes after a con. That was after Haven for Heroes?
After Haven for Heroes, we had a lovely meal, and we were supposed to start shooting the next day. But because all of the things that we needed were in place for that night, we decided to shoot the tent scene late that night. And that's when I was out there with Diana, the beautiful and lovely Diana Devlin, who's Brian O'Halloran's girl. And she was out there helping me get set up, and no exaggeration, on a 700-pound bear literally walked out of the woods and looked at us like, is it time for my close-up? And we were like, no, it's time for us to run away. So we almost became bear dinner when we were shooting that campground scene that you see in Wit's End. And that was a boring story, so I apologize. Oh.
You had a medical. I have a memory of something that I hope is not going to be. You had a medical issue at Haven for Heroes.
It wasn't actually a medical issue. It was scary. I had, as I was signing, I had a sharp pain in my back, and I put my hand under my shirt, and I was like, it felt almost like I had a skin tag or something. I was like, why would a skin tag be giving me like a sharp pain? And why am I feeling this skin tag for the first time in my life now? So I put my hand under my shirt, and I go, what the fuck is that? And I go to, of course, I go to Brian, who, at the time I think is one of my closest friends. And I go, Brian, is there something wrong here? And, in his infinite wisdom, he goes, ew! And I was like, okay, that sounds like a great diagnosis. But Emmett, the guy I was just talking to, luckily is an EMT and works 911 in real life, other than owning a store. He's just one of the greatest guys. Humanity is what he serves. He's just a great guy. He goes, Dave, you have a tick literally buried deep into your back. So in the middle of the signing, he took me to his house, which was in Port Jervis, and he plucked the tick out of my back, and which was just a great day. So yes, and then the next day I had to go after we were done shooting. No, actually, we shot all that night, and then we came back and we did the interiors like a week or two later. But after we were done, I had to go and get a one-time only heavy-duty antibiotic so that I didn't get Lyme disease. But yes, that was unpleasant. It was unpleasant. Just another thing boring its head into me and sucking out my blood.
And then there was a pregnant pause.
Wait, go back to the bear. Why do you wish for me to go back to the bear, Luciana? The bear came out of the woods. We shot that scene where we were at the campground on the north side of my property. It was so that we had control over so that we could have control over the lighting and the sets and all the noise we made and whatever we ever were going to do that night. And I think Brian and Scott went back to get some wardrobe and to get some, I don't remember what else. One of my pulling the tick out of me is one of your fondest memories.
But did he keep the tick? And did you sign it?
I signed the tick, and now it's on a plaque over Emmett's fireplace. Now, I don't even know what the hell I was saying. So, guys, we survived an hour without a guest. I'm very proud of us.
Talking movies, which we could do that. I could love talking movies, even though I haven't seen almost any of the ones you suggested. Maybe I got to come up with a list.
That would be awesome. By the way, Mr. Ridgely, the Steve Johnstone that you is it Johnston or Johnstone? Johnston, who you had lined up for the show. Please rebook him because I'm super excited. I'm like the biggest toy geek in the world, and I have a box of toys here that I was going to like pull out and show him and like get really pick his brain, and that was like super exciting to me. So I want to have him back if that is still possible. If he comes back after my snide anti-hockey and goofy remark. Again, I apologize. I was just being silly. And I
have a toy I would like him to see as well, but it's not a toy. It's a board game from like the 60s.
Really?
Yeah.
What board game is it?
Well, it's really bizarre. Again, I'm a big Ben Gazzara fan, and Ben Gazzara had done a TV series called Arrest and Trial.
Okay.
And there's a board game. I mean, it just blew my mind. It's sitting right here in my man cave studio. It's called Arrest and Trial. It's a board game, and it was literally based. Angie's been talking about selling her entire collection of toys if anyone was interested. Oh, it's loosely based on the TV show, and it's mind-blowing to me. I'm just wondering if he even ever heard of it.
I wanted to ask him, but maybe even one of our listeners or watchers can, because our family here on the end of the night are like the smartest people I know. I had a toy when I was a kid where there were little things that kind of looked like Starburst. They were colored little things that looked like Starburst. And you would take these things and you had a red platform with a plastic top, and you'd spin the plastic top and you'd put the little red Starburst in there and you'd close the plastic top and you'd plug it in, and that thing would heat up and it would turn your little Starburst into a dinosaur. Does anybody remember this? And then when you were done, maybe Emmett remembers this, and then when you were done with that dinosaur, you would take it and put it into a thing that you would turn, and it would squish it back into like a little Starburst thing, and then you could melt it back into making it a dinosaur again. Emmett, you gotta know what this toy was. It's the one where the dinosaurs were like little Starbursts and melt. You don't remember that one, Scott?
Actually, I don't. I don't. And again, I'm old as salt, so I might have been. That might have missed my generation. Remember Chip Away?
Chip Away.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Chip Away was big when I was a kid. Chip Away. You would chip away.
The ice.
There was like an amazing little statue underneath, and you chip away, and it was like you made the statue, but you didn't. And I also had all of the original Universal Monsters models, which were always cool.
Yes, those were cool. And John Wayne Caldwell brought up one of my favorite color forms, man. I don't know, like and Emmett, Strange Change Machine. He's 100%. That's the toy that I'm talking about.
Wow.
The Strange Change Machine. If I can get my hands on a damn Strange Change Machine by Mattel. By Menon. So yes.
I had like the original Batman color forms, which was the coolest thing, man. I remember it like it was yesterday. I had to be 6 or 7, and for me to be 6 or 7, it was still the 60s. So the Batman color forms was just like, oh.
I was a Spider-Man's color form guy.
That would have been cool. I mean, I kind of like Spider-Man too, but
do either one of you guys remember Shrinky Dinks?
Shrinky Dinks, you put them in the oven. Yeah.
Yes.
You put them in the oven. Now, if I had my Mego collection from when I was a kid, forget about it.
Did you have the Green Arrow? Is he the one that's worth like $25,000?
I don't recall if I did or not, but I had like a Bat Cave, and it was really cool with the Batmobile. And this is when Marvel and DC didn't fight with each other. They weren't arguing over licensing, and Mego combined everything together, and it was kind of
that's cool. Also, I mean, we're going back to a time that was the only Batman was Adam West, and then there was a Batman Adam West movie, but for my childhood, that Adam West was the only Batman. And then I was not well into adulthood, but in my early 20s is when Tim Burton gave us the Michael Keaton Batman.
No, if you guys will excuse me for one moment, I want to grab a toy. You could leave it up. I'll be back in like 5 seconds. I want to show the toy guy this toy, but I want to see if you guys remember this one.
Fair enough.
Talks amongst yourselves.
You guys were
and nobody laugh at my pajama pants.
You guys were mentioning board games and stuff in the... Scott's jamming away.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to give him a little hurry up
exit music.
Yeah.
Before David shows that, you guys were discussing board games and stuff before. And I mean, so I was born in 76. So in the early 80s, I remember commercials for stuff like Don't Tip the Waiter. And I took a licking from a chicken playing tic-tac-toe. We also had this one game. It was like a full-size vampire. And the point was not to get bit by the vampire, and actually had like little ink press teeth.
You want to know something, Joe? I remember that. Like, yes, I don't mean to cut you off. And why I remember that, because I remember the ad. The ad was in Famous Monsters magazine, and the person pitching it was none other than Vincent Price.
Wow.
No kidding.
Yes. And we're going to have the biggest news you will hear in years in the horror community on this show. In next, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Seriously, it's going to make like national news. It's that big. So stay tuned. The toy I wanted to show the gentleman who is coming on tonight, and I have tons of toys for when he comes on. We'll talk about. But this was my favorite, and now I realize my wife bought it for me. Of course, I don't have the one I had when I was a kid. This toy is now over 50 years old, but a lot of you out there might have had it and might remember it. Do you guys remember the Star Trek Command Center?
Oh my gosh.
You'd pull a little antenna up, and these buttons would allow you to talk to your friends who had communicators. They walked as walkie-talkies. It was called the Star Trek Command Communication Console. And I always thought that this toy was literally the bee's knees. I mean, How cool is that to have your own stuff? Okay, sorry. You have its own own little Star Trek command console. I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Wow.
Do you guys remember the bridge where you would put the character in the elevator or whatever the hell they call it, and you'd spin it, and if you press the green button, no, it was supposed to be the elevator. It was supposed to be the transporter, and if you span it around and you pressed a button, it would look like they beamed away.
It was on a Big Bang Theory episode.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you know what? We're wasting all of our toy stuff that we should wait for when he comes on.
Very true.
Had Spock. Who didn't have Spock? Actually, sounds kind of scary. Keaton Batman coming back in new Flash movie pick released week. Keaton's Bat.
Bloody symbol, yeah, the bat symbol is covered in blood. It's for the Flash movie coming up.
CJ Robles asked, "Do I have any GI Joes?" CJ, I only have. I think they were either 8, 10, or I guess they were maybe 8 or 10-inch GI Joes with the real hair.
Beard and hair.
And real hair.
12-inch figures,
I have.
aren't they?
What?
With the Barbies. Weren't they
What'd you say?
12-inch figures? Weren't they 12?
Oh, they 12?
Figures?
Okay, I don't know exactly what size they were. Yeah, I think they might even been a little bit bigger than Barbie. I don't think Barbies are 12, are they?
But was it the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip?
No G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip, man. That's later. And if you guys remember, there was when the G.I. Joes with the real facial hair came out for the less fortunate children who didn't have the money to buy the G.I. Joes. There was Big Jim. There you go. Could buy.
I had 2 older brothers that had all that stuff.
And I remember I had the G.I. Joe and my Big Jim one time. He fought the $6 Million Man. Who, if you remember, you could look out the back of his head and see.
His eye.
Yeah, and you could pull up the skin on his arm, and he had, you could plug stuff in. All right, I'm sad and pathetic. Now I wish the toy guy showed up so we could have talked toys all night.
With the Kung Fu grip.
It'll happen.
No, I'm sure he'll actually be a great guest for him because the show will last 4 hours that night because I'm going to ask him so much toy stuff it's going to make his head explode.
Okay, note to self: start show at 5 p.m. that
5
day.
p.m. Absolutely. CJ restarted his Transformers collection.
Man, I had all those mint in box when I was a kid when they first came out. Just threw everything away.
It's funny, I went over some of my comic book collection, and when I was a kid, for some bizarre reason, I bought a lot, meaning a certain number, of She-Hulk #1 comics. So I bought 100, which was the number of the lot, 100 She-Hulk #1 comics. And when I saw my dear friend Emmett, when he came up to the house on the weekend, he said that comic now, because there's going to be a new She-Hulk TV show, that comic book now is one of the hottest comic books around, and it sells for over $1,000 a comic. And I was like, 8-year-old Dave was brilliant in buying 100 of those.
Do you still have them?
I do.
Wow. That is so cool, brother. Wow.
So if anybody wants to buy a She-Hulk #1 from me, I will not sell it to you for $1,000 because
I will give you a cover price for it.
40 cents, not happening. But if anybody wants a She-Hulk #1, I am me, and I'll give you the deal of a century.
I will give you 80 cents. You doubled your money. It's all good.
There you go. It's only taken 46 years to double my money. It's almost like a U.S. savings bond. Well, I think this train wreck, we've haunted people enough. Do you guys have anything else you want to add to the festivities?
I just want to thank everybody for all the support. I really missed the show, not being on in the last week. And I'm blessed by having all of you wonderful supporters. And thank you for showing up and hanging out on my social media and supporting my films and music and my crazy book and my music. And thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And are we going to hear thunderous screams from New Jersey when that turtle head finally leaves the area?
I don't know. The show cured me of my ailment. I feel
See,
fine now.
if nothing other, the end of the night will cure you of constipation. I wish it would be boredom, but it only adds to that problem. With that being said, now next week is the week where Catherine Mary Stewart said when she had a work commitment, she couldn't make it to the last episode that a couple of weeks ago. She said that she was going to come on next week. So our guest next week is supposed to be Catherine Mary Stewart. So I hope that comes to fruition. If it's not, Scott and I will talk about constipation again, and Joe will sit there and just wish that he was anywhere but here.
Or next I get a top 10 list of films, and chances are you guys may not have seen them, but then I get to wax poetic about films that inspired me to become an actor.
Well, there you go. I would love to do that. Thank you, Sean. I'm glad you enjoyed the show.
Thank you, Luciana.
With that being said, we got a whole wonderful slate of shows coming up. All kinds of crazy shenanigans going on. Also, if you get a chance, check out Scott and I in our latest film, Wit's End. It's available on all streaming platforms that you could possibly think of. Tubi, Roku, Amazon, everything that you stream your films on. Check it out.
It also has the wonderful Brian O'Halloran. Let's not forget that.
Who? Oh, yeah. Brian O'Halloran's in it too. And it was just I love Brian. I'm just teasing. It was a fun movie. And now when you watch it, you could say, wow, that's the camping scene where the bear almost ate Dave. Damn it, we wish the bear ate Dave. And that was a fun film. And, Joe, by any chance, did you, and I know I didn't ask you to do this, so don't feel like, what the hell is Dave talking about? But is there any chance you uploaded? Okay. I got the answer. No, I'm not even going to ask you. I know the answer. With that being said, I'm going to go into my line that ends the show. And I actually, thank you, John Wayne. Your show is awesome too.
The tick.
Oh, and yes, Emmett has a cameo. It's a little bit more than a cameo. You play the cop.
Actually, I did.
Yeah.
Emmett does a very fine job.
He plays the officer who diverts me onto the road where ultimately, all the bad shit happens. So thanks a lot, Emmett. It's
very earnest performance.
Yeah,
and
even
that
though
movie could have been over in 15 minutes if you would have listened to him.
Yep. Most people wish it was over in 15 minutes.
Ding!
Nice seeing y'all. Good show. Nice seeing you, by the way. You're a very, very, nice person. Do I need a close-up? No, I don't want to close-up this because we're a family and we go, the ship goes down together like the Titanic. All right? We're the guys playing the music as everybody's gasping their last breath. I've seen Wit's End twice. CJ, I'm a CJ Robles fan because he saw Wit's End twice. That means he's twice as cool as everybody else. Oh, by the way, if I can get the gentleman who is sitting right there, I don't know if the screen looks the same to everybody else, but he's right on my screen. He's right here. If I can get this guy right here, I could finish my new werewolf film called Full Moon Fever. And let me tell you, it is a scary movie. Scary movie, yes. That's right there is when I realized that the flea and tick powder is wearing off. And I'm having a real bad moment. All kidding aside, in that photo, it's I'm about maybe the way the werewolf transformation scene kind of happens. I always wanted to see this in a movie. I never seen it done this way before, but in Full Moon Fever, the werewolf transformation scene, it kind of starts off where the lower part of my body starts wolfing out, and then it kind of progresses to the upper part of my body, and it took us 7 hours to do the one. I think it ultimately is like a minute and a half of actual screen time of the werewolf transformation scene. But I'm extremely, extremely proud of this film. And I did a vampire film, and I always promised myself I was going to do a werewolf film. And it's just some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people are involved in it. A big person who is always on this show, the great Marianne Hagan from the Halloween movies, is in it. Mr. Schiaffo is going to be in it. And when the teaser poster comes out, there's going to be 2 or 3 other names on there that's going to absolutely blow everybody away. But we're super excited. And the movie is so... what most people say about when I drop a picture on my Facebook page is that it's dripping. Yeah, that's sad, Dave. It's dripping with atmosphere, and I think what makes a really good horror film is atmosphere and tone and mood, and it has all those things. So I'm super excited to hopefully get Scott together so we could finish this bad boy, and it'll be out this October. So Scott, we gotta convene and shoot our scene, my friend. With that being said, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Please join us next Sunday night at 10 o'clock, hopefully with Catherine Mary Stewart. And with that, remember, no man is a failure who has friends. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next Sunday.